rainy day in Mumbai today, and it gives me great pleasure to invite each and every one of you. As always, such religiously, we have our friends here coming with visitors and their friends to know more about little about genetics, little about lifestyle, little about your and my life, and little, of course, about how to keep healthier in the future and stay medicine free. Well, welcome once again to one and all, especially the newcomers here today. We are here for a wonderful webinar, which will give us a lot of insights, lot of information, lot of know-how, and a way forward with genetics as the next big thing. I'm Dr. Usha Nair. I'm a certified nutrigenomic wellness consultant for 6 years now and aggressively promoting this new science in healthcare with a background of almost 3 decades in various sectors in the healthcare industry itself, along with complementary and alternative medicines to support and side me. I have really enjoyed this journey. And why genomics and why a certified nutrigenomic wellness consultant is precisely because this is the future. After being into mainstream healthcare and a lot of therapeutic and curative healthcare, I have realized that this is the future. Even we have a lot of seniors of mine, consultants in various sectors, in various fields of medicine, mainstream medicine. They are a staunch believer these days that yes, genomics is what is going to lead the healthcare industry very soon. So why not such an appropriate topic today? Let's get to know what is genetics and why is it the next big thing. And yes, what is the potential that our genes, our DNA hold for all of us? We all know we are unique, right? How many of us know that we are unique? Are we same even if we have a twin brother or a twin sister? No, we're still different. And what does all that difference mean? It can be various aspects of physical, emotional, behavioral, environmental factors, our food, our habits, our lifestyles, everything influences. As we say in genomics, it triggers or it subdues good genes, bad genes, and that is where genetics, DNA, genes, epigenetics, everything as a brand new science comes in. So, friends, we are here today for a free webinar. Like I said, it will be very insightful, extremely useful, and we will know and understand the advantages of a gene based predictive, preventive, and proactive healthcare and lifestyle. Well, with me is panelist Mr. Ashish Pandya, genetics expert, and of course, our Mr. Sans Rao, CMD, Velocity Genetics. And as for me, yes, I have practiced this science for 6 years now and made a lot of difference to a lot of people. I don't say it cures diseases, but I always say that this science helps us when we adapt it in our life to improve the quality of our life. And yes, the bonus is you can have a medicine free future life. Everything is so expensive in mainstream healthcare. We don't have sufficient doctors, we don't have sufficient beds, but it is not about me. Yes, but I have authored with my experience of 6 years in this science, using it for people's health lives to be benefited, 360 degrees transformed. I'm the author of India's first book on the science of nutrigenomics. And yes, I hold my head very high, proud, saying that there are only true testimonials of lives transformed in this book. So it is very unique globally. But to begin this session today, to begin our day today, as always, my friend, my dear guide, a good mentor for so many of us, a multifaceted personality, someone who believed and got intrigued by the world and advances of science. And I call that healthcare, and being a journalist by background, he knows exactly how to run and manage organizations. Like I said, a mentor, an author, a trainer, business consultant, CEO with various B2C companies. He's actually been engaged in a wide range of wellness initiatives. And yes, to say the biggest accomplishment to his credit is establishing the enterprise called as Velocity Genetics, way back in 2017. I call it as his dream project, and that is how wellness solutions, gene-based solutions are reaching health conscious, and I will say also the sick people, individuals, families, corporates in India. For us to be a community of health conscious individuals, families who pay attention to the root cause of their existing health conditions, and we can predict future health risks. And जैसे मैं कहती हूँ, खाना जो आपको सूट करे, पानी जो आपको सूट करे, फिटनेस जो आपको सूट करे, लाइफस्टाइल जो आपको सूट करे, ये सभी कुछ है इस चीज में जिसे हम कहते हैं जिनोमिक वेलनेस वंस इन अ लाइफ टाइम DNA program. So he is a person to be celebrated. It gives me immense pleasure to invite our own chairman and managing director as the first panelist, Velocity Genetics, Mr. Stan Sarao. Good evening, sir, and thank you for being here.
Good evening, Dr. Usha Nair, and good evening to each and every one of you who have logged in here. It's a informal kind of a chat or a kind of a talk show that we have. So I would like to also extend a very special welcome to Mr. Ashish Pandya. He's been a part of our research team. I'll introduce him in a while. So thanks, Dr. Usha Nair.
Sir, I always have this question to you at the outset. Journalist by background, but a science graduate, but a very new science which is unknown even after 6 years of being in India. What made you bring that into India as a pioneer, and then again you stuck on to it without losing hope that we can still make a difference?
Well, I've shared this several times. मैंने बहुत बार इसका जिक्र किया है. So I would like to, I won't get tired sharing this every time it's been asked to me. My background, of course, is in BSc science, but I was never a biology or a life science student. So I never really understand the life sciences fundas. But I think, on a serious note, I've seen my father struggling with multiple diseases. And I lost him in 2004. I was much younger, 20 years younger than what I am today. And, my father, when I was growing up in my, 20s, 30s, I've seen him, struggling with multiple diseases. And then we've been spending a lot of money. The whole atmosphere of the family also, goes for a toss when there is a sick person who needs medical attention on a day-to-day basis. In his last 4 or 5 years, he was bedridden. And same with my mother. She got depressed. In fact, when we lost our father, like her husband, and she was like, having high diabetes, and she had cardiac related issues and so many other things. So I've seen both my parents. She in fact survived for a longer time. We lost her only last year in 2022, and it's both incidences are very, very painful and emotional. I'm sure everybody loves their parents because of them that we are here in this world and enjoying the gift called life. So I've seen that. So when I was actually in the year 2004, when I lost my father, I somehow actually started questioning the whole very existence of human life, and then how the life cycle actually works. And I had an opportunity to get into the health and wellness segment in the year 2005. So if you see, ever since then, I've been an integral part. We've done a lot of wellness-based social campaigns, a lot of public education, a lot of free seminars. It's only after lockdown that we are doing webinars. So this field attracted me. For me, to begin with, the world of wellness was a revelation. हमको पता नहीं था कि हमको यही पता था कि पहले बीमारी आ जाए, उसके बाद में डॉक्टर के पास जाएं, दवा गोलियां ले लें, इंजेक्शन ले लें, सर्जरीज कराएं, and we will be well. We were hoping to get well with the current healthcare system. But I think, of course, the current healthcare system still is very relevant, very advanced technologically, way forward. But I think there is also a world of wellness that we all can explore before we really become a part of the healthcare industry. Healthcare industry is actually a sickness industry. वहाँ पे बीमार लोगों का ही काम है. But then if you can be very proactive, and then if you can be aware of every choices that we make in terms of our food habits, our lifestyle, and we are aware about our anatomy and physiology of our body, I think we are in a better place to understand how the human body works and how we can experience better health. So इस सिलसिले में I got into health and wellness, and that experience of 10-15 years helped me to explore more scientific, more latest technologies and genetics. मेरा पीछा छोड़ नहीं रहा. In 2009-10, I was a CEO for a company, and I was designated to look out for innovative wellness products. And I bumped onto this website which talked about genomic testing or DNA testing, genetic testing way back in 2009-10. But it was too early for us to get into anything related to genetics in India. And it took us a while, but in 2016, yes, we thought the time is right. And we started Velocity Genetics in 2016, incorporating our company, Velocity Life Sciences Private Limited. But in 2017, we actually commercially rolled out our products. Having said that, even today in 2014, I still feel we are too early. We are ahead of times. क्योंकि लोगों को अभी भी ये माइंडसेट है कि भाई पहले बीमारी आने दो, बाद में देखेंगे. मेरे पास मेडिक्लेम है, अच्छे अच्छे डॉक्टर्स के नंबर्स है, इन्फ्लुएंस है, अच्छे अच्छे मेडिकल फैसिलिटीज को मैं जानता हूँ डायरेक्टली. सो पीपल स्टिल हैविंग अ पार्टी देयर. So I think, but we are feeling that there are enough takers who are health conscious individuals and families in India. So they care for their health, and there's that niche market that we're catering to. So that's my a little story and inspiration, Dr. Usha.
Thank you so much, Stan sir. That really tells us where the passion for this science comes and what really must be making you stick on. So friends, जैसे मैंने शुरुआत में कहा, this session is going to be very informative, insightful. It will make us think about ourselves, our lives, our families in the future, or what has been in the past. इसलिए a request to all of you. We have kept the chat only as to host. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat box. Keep your phones on silent and remain on mute all the time so that we do not disturb either the flow of the meeting or हम किसी और को डिस्टर्ब नहीं कर पाए, क्योंकि ये वेबिनार खत्म होने तक पता नहीं किसके जीवन को हम यहीं से बदलाव की शुरुआत करके दे पाए. So friends, I would also like to ask answer one more small question. Sir, I am from mainstream healthcare, being from mainstream hospital administration. So India is really struggling, like I said in the beginning, less doctors, less basic healthcare facilities, and it is only after you fall sick कि हम इलाज के लिए वहां पहुंचते हैं, and then we realize long queues, waiting time, some routine medicine, then next level medicine, then next level diagnostics. And अगर हम आज भी कहें तो in spite of our honorable prime minister pushing ayurveda, pushing yoga, pushing all these preventive, predictive and alternate sciences, very few number of people are actually availing this preventive healthcare. So अगर हम कहें कि gene based predictive healthcare ये कैसे relevant होता है, and what do you say, how many people are ready कि yes, I want to do this for myself?
Yeah, I'll just introduce Mr. Ashish Pandya as well, but then I'll take this question before we take on him. Yes, see, India is a country of 140 crores. Officially, I think we've beaten China now, and 140 crores people with diversity. So we have extremes. मतलब बहुत गरीब लोग भी हैं आज भी. रूरल इंडिया में हम लोग देखेंगे, वहां जाएंगे देखेंगे, तो आई थिंक वी ऑल फील दैट वी आर ऑल प्रिविलेज्ड कि भाई हमको कितनी फैसिलिटीज हैं, हमको कितनी इकोनॉमिक कंफर्ट है हमारे पास. तो वो एक सेगमेंट है. But at the same time, you're also a country which landed on on the moon a few days back. So we are technologically advanced, the third largest economy. We have ultra rich people. The global 500 top richest people में हम लोग number 2, number 3 तक गए हैं. So India is now today leading. India's time has come, no doubt about it. So I feel even if 1% of India is ready for genetic testing, genomic wellness के लिए for the time being, that's a huge number. That's a few countries of Europe maybe. हमारे एक एक पिन कोड में यूरोप के पॉपुलेशन का संख्या है. So yes, right now I am aware that people are still into that zone of curative healthcare कि भाई पहले बीमारी बाद में डॉक्टर. मतलब it's like कि पहले बीमारी आने तो बाद में हम लोग पहले एक्सीडेंट हो जाने तो बाद में हम लोग हेलमेट पहनेंगे, पहले गाड़ी ठोकने दो उसके बाद में सीट बेल्ट पहनेंगे. We have that mindset, but I think it's not just specific to India. It's a universal phenomenon. It's a basic human trait, irrespective of our nationality or which area or what's our culture. So what I feel is that there's a small segment of people which are aware of their fitness and preventive healthcare. I think COVID-19 has awakened a lot of people. दो बहुत सारे लोग हम लोग अपने बैड हैबिट्स में या पुराने हैबिट्स में वापस जा रहे हैं, बट आई थिंक लॉट ऑफ पीपल हैव now realize that yes, you cannot be over dependent on any healthcare system beyond a point. There are limitations, and limitations there are there in every segment, even genetics as well. It's not magic कि भाई मतलब genetic testing कर दिया तो सब problem solve हो गया, ऐसा नहीं है. It also is a very very evolving subject. It's being studied very hard by the researchers across the globe. A lot of developed and advanced countries are actually going through a lot of research with their population to find out how can they predict certain diseases that might have an impact on their health and the health of the entire nation through a predictive healthcare. But I think India is ready for genetic testing, genomic testing. In fact, in 2019, the government had introduced a bill which was discussed in Parliament and in Lok Sabha and everything. But this year, in fact, in the last monsoon session, they had presented that bill. For some reason, they have actually not passed it. It's been, I think, probably deliberated a little more. So we will know also from the experts. But I feel that India is definitely ready. मैं ये बोलूंगा कि जो भी इस धरती में अभी है, जो सांस ले रहा है और अच्छी सेहत की ख्वाहिश करता है, I think they need to be ready for genomic testing, genomic wellness. If not now, a few years later. And there's already always an advantage of you being the pioneers and market leaders. And I think people, you see, we are limited in numbers today, but I think, people who matter are here. These are the people who are influencers in the society who will talk good about genomic wellness. You need not necessarily do a genetic testing, but अगर आपको ये पता चला कि भाई what's epigenetics से induced जो हमारी आज lifestyle में हम लोग जो गलतियां कर रहे हैं, the sins that we are committing, if you are ever aware of that, I think it's a beginning of an awareness. And I think in India is definitely a tip of the iceberg जहाँ पे genomic wellness is going to lead the healthcare industry.
Definitely, very true. Like I mentioned earlier, I still have some very, very senior healthcare medical professionals who support the idea precisely what you were saying. And like I said earlier, it is the future of healthcare. Well, we have yet another panelist, and since he's here with our Velocity Genetics webinar for the very first time, I will now request Mr. Stan Sirao to please introduce Mr. Ashish Pandya.
Thank you. So, welcome Ashish Pandya. So just give you a little background of Ashish. He has a master's he is a master of science in biochemistry. Unlike me, I'm a physics student, chemistry student. So he's a gold medalist in his post-graduation. And right from the beginning, right from his childhood, he's always been a person who has been having a flair for research, for data collections. And as his accomplishment, he actually developed India's first emergency hemostat. It's a patented product that's being sold now in around 30 countries. And basically, he's a researcher. He's a scientist, I would say. And for the last few years, he's been working in the space of genetics. Now, if you tell me, some of you might know our genetic counselors, people who are doing genetic, decoding of the report and interpretation karte hain, uska counseling karte hain. So we have people like, Riddhi Shah, Reena Baliga, we have, Prashanti ma'am, we have Richa. Unko sab training karte hain Ashish Pandya. So he is a trainer for our counselors. So Ashish, a warm welcome to you, and nice to have you in this webinar.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here and seeing all these happy, enthusiastic faces. It gives me hope for the genomics.
All right. So Usha, you have a question for you.
Yes. Welcome, Ashish. It is so good to have you here, especially as a genetics expert. Genetics always was my favorite subject in my science graduation. But I have a question which says that Today we talk more about lifestyle diseases, diabetes, obesity, cardiac issues. I will say even to certain extent kidney disorders and thyroid. So, how far is this scientifically true that the major culprit today is not heredity, but it is more of lifestyle diseases? And how can DNA testing actually help us?
Okay. So, to typically answer your question, I would say that all the diseases that you mentioned are scientifically lifestyle diseases, right? But any disease to manifest, there has to be, you have to do something wrong in your life so that that disease happens to you. So, for diabetes to happen, for heart disease to happen, or for obesity to happen, for kidney disease to happen, you either don't follow a proper lifestyle or a proper nutrition or a proper fitness regime, because of which the small changes that happen in our body biochemically, उसकी वजह से वो एंड में वो डिसीज होता है हमको, be it diabetes or be it heart condition or be it your kidney condition. But all of these will also have a genetic component to it. So I would see that you cannot separate genetics and lifestyle disorders. Actually, genetics also plays a lot of role in all of these conditions that are happening to you. So you would have seen कि अगर आपकी family में आपके, if your parents are having diabetes, a lot of your family doctor will tell you, like, you keep an eye once you reach 30, 40 years of age, keep checking your blood glucose, why do they tell you that? Because they understand that there is some linkage where your genetics play a lot of role. And if you have bad genes, as Stan and you also said in the beginning, if you have bad genes and bad lifestyle, it's going to result into that disease condition. If you have good genes, still bad lifestyle, your chances of getting that disease is 50-50, I would say, or not very high. But if you have, bad genes and you follow good lifestyle, there's a good chance you might prevent that disease from happening. There's a good chance that you will be not getting that disease earlier in your life, or you can delay the onset, or at least you can catch hold of it when it starts, and not wait for it to aggravate in your body, and then go to hospitals running here and there. So uh, there is a lot of linkage between your lifestyle, your genetics, and all the environment around you. It's a multifactorial thing to look at.
So, Ashish, if I may ask from your experience, how much are you actually able to tell us with conviction that hereditary हमारे पास predisposition है, risk factor है, but next generation को हम prevent कर सकते हैं वो hereditary factor? Is that possible?
So, see, प्रिवेंट करना हमारे हाथ में है, इस जनरेशन का भी और नेक्स्ट जनरेशन का भी. द आंसर लाइज ओवर हियर इन नोइंग व्हाट रिस्क यू हैव, राइट? अगर आपको अपना जेनेटिक रिस्क पता है, या आपके बच्चों का आप टेस्ट करा रहे हो, उनका जेनेटिक रिस्क पता है, तो उसके ऊपर से यू कैन मेक certain lifestyle modifications, certain dietary modifications that will help you remain healthier for a longer period of time. See, it's like building the bridge before it floods, right? You cannot build a bridge while it is flooding. You can, if you want to save water for next summer, you'll have to build a bridge right now, or the dam right now, to save the water. Similarly, in the beginning also you asked Stan that whether it is how well it could be adopted in India. India is still in the reactive phase of healthcare, where we go only to a healthcare professional अगर हमें कुछ होता है, अगर बुखार आता है, या we are not feeling well, then and then we go to the doctor and get the checkup and take allopathic medicines just to get the symptomatic relief, or take antibiotics to get the infection out of our body. To shift to preventive, what we need to do is to understand ourselves better. And we all know your DNA has the code for your life. Your DNA has every information about you. How will be your hair color? How will be your skin color? How would you look? Where will you get wrinkles? When you will get diabetes? How will you get heart disease? What all risks you can imagine? And the research is still going on, where you can explore more and more and more about yourself. As in when the research is exploring, we get more information about telling you. So right now, we can tell you about 303 conditions for the velocity genetic test, and that helps you improve upon that or help mitigate the risk of those diseases. So I would say we can tell quite accurately about uh, uh, you know uh, genetics playing a lot of role in these kind of conditions.
I have a little out of place question. Okay, I had this query come to me. There is this gene based testing where lot of gene based testings happen, say clinically prescribed by doctors, or it could be for forensics. What we do is wellness. But when we also talk about preventing diseases, how do you correlate stem cells as a therapy and gene profiling as a preventive predictive science?
So it's a very interesting way to look at stem cell therapies do work in the earlier phases of diseases. I've seen cases where it has worked in neurodegenerative diseases जैसे कि Alzheimer हो गया, Parkinson's हो गया. There have been cases where they have cured people of their paralysis because using stem cell therapy. Now, stem cell therapy in a very early formation of conditions can help you, but the success rate is very low. It is like a therapy. It is like taking a physiotherapy, or it is like going and doing exercise. Whether it will, and also depends on the age, gender, amount of the disease that has worsened or bettered, and the kind of epigenetics that you have. So when I look at genetics, it is much more easier, much more simpler. Uh, uh, you can look through that reports, you can look through the understanding of your DNA code, and then you can implement those things even before it happens. Stem cells comes as a rescue model where you do not have any other therapies, or it's a very rare disease and you need to you want to elongate your life or quality of life. Genetics is a step, a way before step, where you understand yourself and live a life in a certain way where it helps you live a quality, healthier life.
Thank you so much. That was really very, very good comparison and really insightful on what is the difference, because many a times people compare gene profiling and any therapy. They say iska to ilaj hai, iska to ye treatment hai, but they don't understand the significance ki hum kya baat kar rahe hain. Yes, precisely because it's a new science. But if I can add on to that, one more question to you before I go to Stan sir. What are some of the insights? ये जीन टेस्टिंग से हमें पता क्या चलता है?
uh, हम ये gene testing में what happens is we look at certain variations in your DNA that happens. अभी वो variation अच्छे भी हो सकते हैं, बुरे भी हो सकते हैं, और neutral भी हो सकते हैं. Or we give you a sum total of that variation saying whether it is good for you, bad for you, or it is normal. So looking at those variations in your DNA and giving you that information is what we do in the gene testing. So we look at around 7.5 lakh data points in the DNA to give you this information. So it's not that I'm looking at one or two changes that have happened in your DNA. I look at so many changes, and there's a lot of maths and bioinformatics that goes behind it, giving you out one single number or one single outcome, saying that okay, it is good for you or bad for you. And for that, there's a lot of research that we do it. Like I'll tell you, we look around more than 1 lakh papers every year, research papers we read through in order to give you an accurate report. So what you see over here is just the tip of the iceberg, just to make it more helpful to understand you, because genomics itself is a very complex science and it varies from population to population, generation to generation, and continent to continent, right? So we have to look in all those factors, whether the research is qualifiable, not qualifiable, whether it is doable, not doable. So all those things come to you, and then we tell you that okay, हमने इतना सारा चीज देखा है आपके डीएनए में, हमें लगता है कि आपको डायबिटीज होने का इतना चांस है, या आपको लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस होने का पॉसिबिलिटी है, वो हम आपको आपके रिपोर्ट में बताते हैं.
Wow, that was just one diabetes or lactose intolerance, and we definitely have 300 plus phenotypes that we test today. So, getting back to you, Stancer, there are a lot of VIP or popular clients who have adapted this in their life and benefited from the once in a lifetime gene based test at Velocity Genetics. Can you highlight a few to us?
Well, I would actually say that everybody who does genetic testing for themselves is a VIP for us, because they spend a lot of money, but more than that, I think they value the gift of life, and that's the reason they want to have more scientific insights, and they would like to care for their life, because you don't live life for yourself alone. You live because you are here for a cause, for a mission, whatever you want to call it, and you live it for your parents, because they have gifted your life. You need to pay back to them by saying that, look, you need to prove your mettle. You need to, you get married, you have your spouse, you have your children, offsprings, and family. You need to be of use to them by grooming them, nurturing them, and you at large, you have to contribute a lot to the community, to the society, and to the universe at large. So हमको बहुत सारी जिम्मेदारी है. We are not here only as selfish human beings. I think we need to do that. So अगर ऐसे mindset से, if people are looking at to be healthy, they're not only doing a favor to themselves, but to a lot of other factors, other people in the ecosystem, directly, indirectly. I would say, rather than calling them VIPs, I would say some of the people are more popular. And why people become popular? Because they've already accomplished something in some respective fields, whether it is Bollywood, Hollywood, or it could be cinema, art, or it could be sports, or it could be any form of maybe politics, or maybe entrepreneurship. So what I'll do is that just to put things in perspective, I rather would play a video which actually talks about some of our VIP customers. We still call them VIP customers, but I think they should be called more popular customers rather than be calling them that way.
Folder receipt.
Okay, hold on. Hold on, I'll just play this video so that, if you have not seen it, you probably will be able to, get to know some of our very famous, clients. Hold on. So there we are. think
Thank you so much, Stan sir.
that answers your question, I'm sure.
Yes, a lot of popular clients, of course, from across. And I believe today Velocity Genetics has been able to reach across borders. And we have more than 11,000 satisfied clients. And we have reached almost 21 different countries. So, congratulations, 7 years on the go. And it's been a great journey. But I have one small question. How do we go about doing this gene-based test at Velocity Genetics?
Okay, so I think I will quickly explain the SOP कि genetic testing को किस तरीके से कर सकते हैं. It's very simple that right now we are doing a saliva based DNA testing. That means कि हमारे जितने भी बॉडी में सेल्स हैं उसमें से एक सेल में जो भी डीएनए का हमको डिटेल्स मिलते हैं, एंड यू नो मिस्टर आशीष टोल्ड अस दैट वी आर लुकिंग एट 7.5 लाख डेटा पॉइंट्स. सो उतने म्यूटेशंस को, वेरिएशंस को हम लोग देखते हैं. उसके बाद में उसका बायो इंफॉर्मेटिक्स डिपार्टमेंट जो है उसका वो एनालिसिस करता है. देयर आर वेरी वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स algorithms, but in order to get the genetic information of an individual, you just need to get one living cell. तो वो सेल कहाँ से मिलता है? You can get it from your hair, from your urine, from your blood. So different biological samples. But the easier one, and on a lighter note, हम लोग बोलते हैं कि इंडियन लोगों को थूकना थोड़ा मजा आ जाता है. तो we give them a small tube और बोलते हैं कि भाई इसमें थूको यार, 2 ml इसमें थूको. Okay, 2 ml sample collection. And there is a procedure. So we have done a video in around 10 Indian languages, of course, 9 Indian languages, including English. तो आप अपने अपनी मातृभाषा में इस वीडियो को देख सकते हैं. तो एक जो सलाइवा सैंपल कलेक्शन करने का जो एक किट है, it's like when you collect your urine when you go to a hospital, so you have a kit. I can probably play a video at the end. So ये kit जो ट्यूब का जो kit है, so we call it a DNA saliva sample collection kit. We send it to our clients across India and now also across the world. So, just last week we sent it to USA, to UAE and other countries as well, to Nepal. So we are sending it across the world. So in India, we send it free of cost. Outside India है तो उसका जो actual courier का cost है, shipping का cost है, वो देना पड़ता है. And once you give your sample at home, there is a procedure, as I told you, half an hour of fasting, and you can collect it anytime during day or night, no problem. But provided you are following the procedure, it's a simple procedure. Thousands of people have given that, followed that procedure and given the sample. So your kit also has a self-addressed envelope. तो उसमें हमारे लैब के या हमारे कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिसेस का एड्रेस लिखा हुआ है. So you'll have to send it there, and when you send it, you'll have to send it at your own cost. It will be a little expensive when you send it from across India, outside India. But in India, it will cost you hardly 40-50 rupees, and you can best way is send by speed post. They'll charge you only just around 40-50 rupees. So it comes to us, and then we process the samples in batches. So right now we are doing one sample every week. So we don't want to do it like too frequently because we do it in batches. So from the date of the batch date, you will get a communication on your WhatsApp, and we'll be informing you. So after 21 working days, unlike a blood report, जो आप सुबह शुगर चेक करेंगे आपको 2 घंटे में मिल सकता है या तुरंत भी मिल सकता है, या some other reports, blood based reports, you will get it in 2 or 3 days. But here the international standard, the SOP is that it takes around 3 to 4 weeks. So we are sticking to 3 weeks, which is 21 working days. So 21 working days के अंदर आपको अपना genetic report मिलता है. Now why does it take 21 days? Because we are sending the samples to DNA labs in Europe. So right now we're dealing with a lab in Germany. So it goes by courier, तो उसके लिए 2-3 दिन लगते हैं. Then there is a DNA extraction that takes place. मतलब कि आपने saliva sample जब भी दिया, उसके साथ आपने एक preservative भी डाल दिया, so that your DNA can be safe, alive, and can be transported from your home to our Mumbai office, and from Mumbai to Germany. And it lasts for almost 30 days. So 21 working days में जब आपका report आता है, you will get your report in 2 different ways. एक आपको user ID password मिल जाता है, so that you can access your report online, and it's thousands of pages, I guess around hundreds of pages, not thousands, so around 900 pages report है. So you will understand, just to give you an example, कि आपको ओबेसिटी या मोटापा आने का चांसेस है या नहीं है, इर्रेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ अगर आप आज मोटापा आपको है या नहीं है. So we are checking as many as 20 different markers and multiple data points. तो वो सभी डेटा पॉइंट का अगर रिपोर्ट आप ओनली कि क्या मुझे मोटापा आने की संभावना है या नहीं है, वो देखेंगे. आई थिंक इट्स अ 20-30 पेज रिपोर्ट. सो ऐसे 303 फिनोटाइप्स या 303 डीएनए टेस्ट हम लोग करते हैं. सो इट रन्स टू ऑलमोस्ट 900 प्लस पेजेस. बट यू मे नॉट हैव द टाइम टू रीड ऑल ऑफ दैट इमीडिएटली. तो इसके लिए हम लोग एक आपको समरी रिपोर्ट देते हैं which is around 65 pages, and then we schedule a genetic counseling. क्योंकि आपने एक्सरे तो ले लिया या एमआरआई टेस्ट कर लिया, तो आपके हाथ में रिपोर्ट भी आपने लैब से कलेक्ट कर लिया, लेकिन यू विल नॉट बी इन अ पोजीशन टू इंटरप्रेट इट. सो यू हैव टू गो टू अ मेडिकल डॉक्टर जिन्होंने आपको प्रिस्क्राइब किया था. सो वी हैव जेनेटिक काउंसलर्स. तो जेनेटिक काउंसलर दे आर ऑल्सो सीनियर न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट, बिकॉज वो आपका जेनेटिक रिपोर्ट डी कोडिंग करेंगे and will tell you कि आपके आम भाषा में, in many instances we have probably you will be able to get it in your mother tongue, whether it is Tamil or Telugu or Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, and different languages. So you will get this report in your multiple in your counseling in your mother tongue. And then एक आम भाषा में, जैसे एक डॉक्टर कॉम्प्लिकेटेड रिपोर्ट आपको कैसे आसानी से समझा देते हैं, वैसे समझा देते हैं. Now here, mind you, unlike a medical doctor who actually prescribes medicine, we don't prescribe medicine to you, but then we educate you. क्योंकि इसके जो एक्शन आपको लेना है, क्या जो चेंजेस करने हैं लाइफस्टाइल में, न्यूट्रिशन में, और that you need to be doing. So we educate you, and within 7 working days, we also will give you an action plan, actionable changes that you need to be doing. So this is how the procedure works. For the next 1 year, we also provide you with a wellness help desk. So you will be getting all these details in your report with mobile numbers, WhatsApp numbers. So there you can get in touch and then get a consultation free of cost for throughout the year. And then we also save your genetic data in an electronic gene banking facility. That means हमारे genes जो हम लोग जो लेके आए हैं, पैदा हुए हैं, so that they don't change, their variation or their expressions change, or their regulations can be monitored. So all that data you will be getting in your report. So this is how the entire program works. It's like a 1-year gene-based wellness program. It's absolutely value for money, because it's like a mirror of who you are from a scientific perspective, not from a कि hearsay कि भाई मुझे ऐसा लगता है वैसा लगता नहीं है. It is based on your saliva, your genes, and the science which is backed by the Human Genome Project. So that's the process.
Thank you so much, sir. Very exhausting seems like, but I know it is very simple. How about the gene banking facility that was provided earlier?
Yeah, it still continues. So it's electronic gene banking is what we say, because the extraction of the information happens once. And I think Ashish will throw a little more light on this. Ashish, the
Sure.
gene banking facility.
Yeah. So what happens here is, once your sample is extracted and the DNA is run, we get the information in the electronic form, in a very huge form. It's like more than 2 GBs of data per individual, right? And we save that information. Like in future, if you just want to have, and in future, if there are more phenotypes, or if there are more research that is happening, and if you want to understand more, and if we are providing the report to you, you can use that information. So it is safe with us, in a very in a very ethical manner, and we store that data for you, so that you don't have to resample again.
Well, Ashish, anyways, I was coming back to you. Stan sir mentioned about blood tests and DNA tests and DNA profiling. A lot of people always confuse the gene profiling that we do and compare it with the blood tests that are done. So what is your take on that?
Okay. So any the blood test which you do or a urine test which you do, they are biochemical test. Okay. वो आपके करंट कंडीशन को बताएगा आपको कि भाई आपके ब्लड में ग्लूकोज है कि नहीं, या यूरिन में ग्लूकोज है कि नहीं, या ब्लड में आपका फैट, लिपिड, कोलेस्ट्रॉल है कि नहीं. Whereas DNA report does not tell you about your current condition, it tells you about how you are composed of. आपका actual composition कैसा है, आपका metabolism कैसा है, और अगर वहां पे issue है, if you have an issue in that, How do you correct it is based on the lifestyle and the dietary interventions which our nutrigenomic counselors can give you. So there is a huge difference. Blood tests are diagnostic in nature. They are to the point. Right now, what is happening wrong in my body? DNA is like a roadmap to your health. So I would just give one more analogy over here for everyone to understand. अगर हमें पोजीशन ए से पोजीशन बी जाना है कहीं पे भी सिटी में, तो हम गूगल मैप्स देखते हैं कितना टाइम लगेगा, कहाँ पे रेड लाइट है या कहाँ पे ट्रैफिक जैम है या कहाँ पे कम ट्रैफिक है. We always choose how we can reach faster to our destination, right? We don't want to get stuck in the traffic. DNA report exactly works that way. It will help you look at your reds, your greens and your oranges. So अगर आपको रेड से बचना है तो आपको क्या करना है, वो रिपोर्ट में देख के मॉडिफिकेशंस के साथ आप करेंगे, तो what will happen is your chances of getting stuck with that condition will be less. So it's a very simple way to understand how your DNA is behaving or is composed of, and will give you a very clear idea that आपको अगर yearly checkup करना है चीजों का, तो आप कौन सी चीजों का करेंगे. अभी आप full on package ले लेते हो जाके, which में it doesn't make sense, right? You are always paying extra for what you know that is going to be normal, right? Based on your DNA test, you can also modify the yearly blood checkup that you do or your health checkup that you do. कि अगर आपको हार्ट रिस्क ज्यादा है, आपको डायबिटीज रिस्क ज्यादा है, तो आप उसके ही टेस्ट कराओ. अगर किडनी रिस्क नहीं है तो you can skip it, right? Or you can do it only once in a year, or you can do it twice, you can do it once in 2 years kind of thing. So you have to be proactive also. That helps you to save your money, time and effort.
Well, another small question for you. Stan sir mentioned genes do not change.
So
sorry, I broke up. We use DNA testing as once in a lifetime test. Am I audible?
yeah, you are.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So how do you explain that?
So your basic genetic composition does not change unless and until there is a nuclear warfare कि भाई nuclear bomb गिर गया तो आपका genetic changes होने के chances रहते हैं. अगर there are other epigenetic changes which we saw in the video in the beginning, जो होते रहते हैं, जो आपके जीन के एक्सप्रेशन को बढ़ाएंगे, कम करेंगे, एक एज के बाद कुछ जीन एक्सप्रेशंस रुक जाएंगे, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. So those are called epigenetic changes, and that are also modulated by your lifestyle. So genes do not change. Epigenetic changes की वजह से आपको hormonal imbalance हो सकता है, आपके बाल झड़ सकते हैं, आपको indigestion हो सकता है, and we also look at the genetic risk associated with all of these things, right? So अगर आपको gastric trouble हो सकता है कि नहीं, acid reflux हो सकता है कि नहीं, all these things are covered in these genetic tests. Now the beauty of this test is your genetic counselor, when they're going to explain you, they are also going to ask you some questions about your daily routine, आपकी family history, आपका health history वगैरह वगैरह. So that information and your genetic information is then correlated when they explain you the report. Once you correlate and give the report, it's going to help you improve upon your health. So बहुत ही सिंपल शब्दों में मैं अगर इसको समझाना चाहूँ तो मैं ऐसे समझाऊंगा कि आपका डीएनए लाइफ टाइम में कभी चेंज नहीं. What you're born with, you will die with. But there are certain changes that happen in between, which are called epigenetic changes. That changes the way you kind of metabolize things. And वो बहुत सारे external factors पे dependent है, lifestyle पे dependent है. तो वो जानना भी बहुत जरूरी है.
That was really very, very informative. Another last question to you, probably. We call this DNA profiling as 5G. And how do you compare it to be expensive or affordable, economical when it comes to me as a client to use it?
Okay. I will break it down in a very simple way to look at how do you look at the expensive. It is not at all expensive. An average lifespan of Indian is now increasing up to 70 years, right? अगर आप 70 साल की जिंदगी लेके चलते हो, and if you are even if you are at your 40 years of your age and you take the test, it is worth it. It is going to cost you 1 paisa or less than that for how much ever long you live, right? So you look at this as this is the real health insurance. जो आप हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस बाजार से लेते हो ना, वो तो आपको सिर्फ फाइनेंशियली कंपेंसेट करता है, हेल्थ में थोड़ी ना कंपेंसेट करेगा। अगर आपको कंडीशन हो गया तो फिर इट्स गोइंग टू बी लाइफ लॉन्ग मेडिकेशन और physical strain and mental strain, and everyone else gets stressed because the condition you get. But if you have your genetic testing done and you know कि आपको ये risk है, या you know you have to do this, you know you have to do that, that saves a lot of cost. That also gives you a lot of mental peace. That also saves a lot of efforts and medical bills that you put into. So you have to think that which is the real. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take a health insurance which compensates you financially. You should take this genetic health insurance which compensates you biologically, which will help you remain healthier for a longer period of time. It will cost you a paisa per day if you live for 70 years, right? So that's how I look at making you understand that when you do a genetic test, it's not at all expensive. We buy a house once in a lifetime. We do a genetic test once in a lifetime. हम बार बार तो घर नहीं बदलते ना.
Thank you
I,
so
I,
much.
I
I
just
mean,
wanted to, Dr. Usha, I just
yes.
wanted to add to it, is that I call it the world's most economical, uh, health and wellness program. It's more economic. The reason is, we always say in the world of training, coaching, motivation, and life education के क्षेत्र में हम लोग बोलते हैं, the best investment that you can do is on your own self development. Now, self development doesn't really only mean that your skills, but also your health. And if you don't really enjoy good health, and I'm sure our skills will be of no use. So if you really do a analysis in detail, 303 phenotypes giving you various insights. We have a lot of clients who actually come because they have a condition like diabetes and they want to get more details. They want to get answers at a genetic level. But then when they really do a comprehensive testing, they say that, we did it only for this condition, but now we came to know a lot of new things which we were not aware of. It's like an eye opener. It's like a revelation. Medical doctors have told us, saying that for us, ye dunya exist hi nahi karti thi. Now we understand that, there's so much that we can, information that we can extract. Based on that, we probably can do better treatment, and we can suggest a lot of other, things. Now you go to a hospital, you will also have clinical nutritionist coming to you, psychologists coming to you, alternative healers coming to you, and there are some hospitals who promote integrated medicine. It's not just allopathic only. So these open-minded liberal hospitals give you an avenue or an option to explore a lot of different epigenetics related solutions. So I think the insights that you get from the report are going to be very, very valuable. I would say out of 303 में से आपको 30 phenotype में भी value मिला, you will feel कि पूरा पैसा वसूल हो गया, बाकी सब bonus है. So it's really value for money product.
So, Stancer, to add on to that, we started in 2017 with 33 phenotypes. And at that point of time, I can say it was a bomb of a cost. So, how come today 300 plus phenotypes and it has become more economical than being similar kind of a costing?
Yeah, so if you see, just a small analogy of your voice call, calling rates. We started with what, 30 rupees, 25 rupees, 16 rupees. When I had my first handset, I was paying 16 rupees in 90s, mid 90s. So now voice calls is literally free. It's only for data transfer that we are charging money. So the जैसे technology एक significant mass को पहुंच जाएगी, you will see that the costs come down. So in the year 2003, when the Human Genome Project was completed, the first person, Craig Venter, who has been sequenced, he spent a couple of millions of dollars. So काफी लाखों में उन्होंने पैसे दे दिए थे just to get sequenced. But today, ordinary people like me and you, common people, we have this D2H, is direct to homes genetic testing. So we can explore and we can do it in a few thousands of rupees. And of course, the entire package, we are not classifying it as a medical service, but a wellness service. So we also pay 18% GST to the government, and we are also helping the nation to provide better facilities for us. So I think if you really look at the basic cost and look at the value that you are dividing, it's definitely a value for money. And as technology is growing, because now we are sending it to Germany, because there are huge number of labs. You know, the chain of labs that we are using, they have around 50 labs in various countries, in Netherlands, in the US, etc. And because of the large scale genomic testing that's happening at the global level, the costs are coming down, and we are able to offer to people at a lower cost. And you can expect further costs to come down in the near future. Maybe in the next 5 years, the cost will not remain the same. It will also further come down.
Well, that really sounds very interesting. I would like to inform all our participants that you also may be having questions like I had so many questions. So maybe you can quickly raise your hand so we can unmute you and ask you questions. In the
Or you can even
meanwhile,
type, or you can even also
yeah,
text.
or type it in the chat box. We will take those questions. You can ask either Stan sir or Ashish. But I have one more question for Ashish. Ashish, we discussed and mentioned that this is for maybe diabetics or to see at hereditary ailments or to see at obesity. But how can actually health conscious individuals get some eye-opening health insights from our Velocity Genetics DNA testing program? Should healthy people go in for it?
Absolutely, they should go in for it. And I'll tell you why. As I earlier said that it is going to be a roadmap for your health and fitness, right? If I want to work out, I want to achieve a certain kind of body. If I want to be healthy, if I want to have great skin, great hair, if I want to, stay disease free for a longer period of time, your genetics has all the answers to it. And we cover all of these in the Velocity Genetic test that we do, where we look at the nutrition aspect, we look at the micronutrients, we look at the fitness aspect. We can also look at personality, for that matter. In a lot of cases, there is a lot that you can learn about yourself from your DNA. So I think lot of ancient wisdom you can connect to your genetic testing, that you learn about yourself by looking into yourself, right? And by that I mean by looking into your DNA. So anything you do not have answers for, it will have answers in your genetics. So a lot of health conscious people, I would rather also add, a lot of, we saw in the popular, people have taken, there are a lot of sports people taking it. It helps them improve their performance. We have a lot of actors, a lot of models taking it. Why? Because it really helps them achieve the looks, the aesthetics that they are looking out for. And for common people like us, if we want to remain disease free for a longer period of time, it is a must go for test.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Well, I think I have some hands raised, and
Dr. Usha,
can,
I just want to intervene. Sorry for that. I
yes.
just want to read out a message by one of our delegates, one of our health coaches. So she says that this is truly a very economical wellness program in comparison to what it gives. So that precisely means it's the value. So I wish we knew this 20 years before. We could have avoided a lot of stress, wastage of money, sickness, and maybe possibly a better informed life. So this is what he's saying. So there's one question by Dr. Girish, one of the health coaches. Is it possible to identify psychiatric diseases through genetic testing? Ashish, you want to go for it?
Sure. Yeah, there are a lot of psychiatric diseases that we look at, a lot of phobias, schizophrenia, depression. We look at all those conditions, and give you an answer on your predispositions, because a lot of these conditions have a strong genetic relevance, and hence it's reported in our reports.
Okay, great. So, Mr. Chandran, you want to ask a question? So, he is one of our certified genomic wellness consultant. That's what I remember. You're in one of the batches. Chandran?
Yes, sir. I want to ask a question that how much does it cost? No, the cost has come down. That's what telling.
Oh, okay, so that's a very interesting question that you're asking. Please get back to us on this, on the pricing. We probably don't want to reveal the price at this point in time because there are various programs. Okay, so but what we were actually meaning is, we started with there was one hospital, very prominent hospital, which actually started genetic testing for some time. They're charging around 75,000 rupees. Then it came down to 50,000 rupees. Now it's into 30s. It might come down even further. So there are various types of tests, and the price for a particular product will actually differ. But then the point that we were discussing is, when we were talking about the pricing, is in general, as an industry, the pricing has actually come down to a great extent. So it's not, not specifically about one product. There are different panels for diabetes, for cardiovascular, for women, for children, for fitness, for nutrition. But if you do a comprehensive, which actually gives you a better idea to connect with one another, because human body is only one. So you can't be only looking at only, okay, I've got diabetes, so let me do a diabetic plan. Your diabetes also would have a direct correlation with your cardiac conditions, or your obesity, or with your addictions of smoking, or having too much of a sugar, or maybe your nutritional intake. So it's all all put together. So it's a holistic pricing. So a holistic approach. So the pricing would be different. We'll get back to you in terms of the specific pricing. I think you can log into your website and then you can find out pricing. Okay.
Well, Chandran sir, Ashish ji did mention that it's something like $1 a day or a rupee a day, and that really doesn't come to once in a lifetime cost. I have one small question for Ashish. People also ask, looking at our various phenotypes, should I do it before I get married? Because we have some male and female parameters covered. So how does it help?
So yes, we see that people go for genetic testing at three conditions in their life when their life is changing. Okay, one is when there's a birth in their family. Everyone's worried and everyone wants the life to be good at that point of time. Second is when someone is sick and someone is dying. Everyone gets worried about health at that point of time. And third is when one wants to get married. Everyone wants to be healthy. Everyone is looking towards a newer future. They want to build with their partner. So at these 3 points, we have seen that people want to opt and look into the DNA. And why particularly for the nuptials, it is important because we cover a lot of hormonal things. We also look at predispositions for male hormones. We also look at some predispositions for female hormonal conditions like PCOS, endometriosis. For males, that is low testosterone, infertility. So if they are at risk, they could find out remedies and work out things, and that could actually help them start a new life in a better way, right? So these are, I just gave you something that a food for thought for everyone, that three instances everyone wants to be healthy and look good or take care of themselves is birth, marriage, and death in the family.
Dr. Das has a question.
Dr. Usha, I just want to intervene again. I'm so sorry for that, but I can't just stop not having Dr. Arora speaking. So Dr.
I have a question for him for the end. So give me. Let us finish the other questions.
Surely, go ahead.
Dr. Das, can we please unmute him?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Dr. Das from Bhubaneswar. I am a gynecologist. So my question is, can my infertility patients be benefited by this test?
So, Dr. Dash, they can be benefited in a very, very huge way because a lot of infertility is related to micronutrient deficiencies, lifestyles, insulin resistance, etc., etc. So the test gives you an insight on that, and also the hormonal panels that I told about, looking at their predispositions. We also have something with respect to people who want to opt for IVF. They can look into those conditions also. So it really, really helps. We have certain cases where we have actually helped patients where they wanted to go for infertility treatment or IVF, and we have helped them prepare for them in a better way, and probably help them reduce some amount of money they spend on it. Number of cycles get reduced, and the success rates increases.
Great. My second question is, in this test, is the whole genome is decoded or not? Or
So
a part of it?
So the whole genome is sequenced, but not every. So we don't sequence the whole gene. We sequence certain points in the gene which are well known for certain conditions and which are important to look at. So whole genome sequencing is a mammoth task. It is also still not as at the scale of economies as what we do right now. So we look at around 7.5 lakh points in the DNA or in the genome, which are very, very important for the phenotypes that we are reporting.
Great. So it will be
I'm sorry, you just had to unmute yourself again. Please unmute, Dr. This. Yeah, please
yes.
continue.
Means those which are relevant you are doing. Only the relevant parts of the
Yes.
genome we are decoding.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's great. So okay. Thank you.
Thank you for a very relevant question, Dr. Das. Really looks like you've been pretty attentive. And I really thank so many of us here who have taken keen interest in what we are discussing. But yes, the webinar cannot end without a question to one of my seniors, one of my mentors and motivators into the mainstream healthcare industry. We have, with great pride that I say, that we have Dr. HSR Arora here. He's a veteran. He's from the armed forces, a retired Air Commodore, and he also has been a medical doctor from the mainstream healthcare industry. He is very well informed and aware, and today he also supports and promotes alternative and complementary sciences. So, Dr. Arora, are you there? I have a question for you.
Yes.
Please unmute Dr. Arora.
Yeah, he's there.
Well, sir, you being from the mainstream healthcare industry, okay, you believe in the genetic testing that we are conducting and follow. But why doesn't the current healthcare system promote this kind of technologies? Do they want to actually keep patients less informed, or they want to keep patients sick?
Actually, they should get involved seriously with this. Why I'm saying, my daughter in US, she's a genomic specialist. She's a professor in one of the cancer institute. And even in US, this is in a, rear seat. And if it goes in a big way, you will be surprised. People will come to know what is in offing in their lifetime, what diseases they are going to suffer. The susceptibility analysis at birth can be carried out. So you save yourself accordingly. And this is a science which is a very, very unique of its kind. Now, after occurring a disease, if you are going through this, the maximum damage which was supposed to have happened, it has already happened. Now you go for a preventive this thing. So it is a very, very important. In fact, if you remember my last, 4 or 5 months earlier communication, I said, when a boy or a girl, they are planning to get married, they must go through this test before marriage. Reason being, they will come to know what is in offing. Susceptibility analysis can be done. If you remember, previously we did one lady's this thing. Her report indicates she'll have a frequent IVF failures. She underwent 4 or 5 IVFs and they were failing. So it can be seen in the genetic analysis. So it is important. And I strongly feel a time will come when, like blood testing we do, like we test the blood pressure, we check the pulse oxy, like this, the genomic protocol will be tested. And it is a requirement now, as the population in the world is going in a big way. If we do not analyze their susceptibility, what is in offing, what is going to happen? The huge money is going to be spent on healthcare. Even the life cannot be prevented that time. That people will live longer, but suffer continuously from diseases. This is going to happen. So we need to be very careful. I'm also working on, very unique protocol, which is called a pesticide, insecticides. 10 years down the line, the world will face a pandemic of cancers due to these chemicals. Through what? They will cause mutation into our genetic system. Even in animals, you will have this difficulty. Human being, of course, it will be having everywhere, and in each food, even water, even whatever food you take, feed from outside or prepare from, or you take greens or fruits and all are laced with chemicals. They all are causing mutating changes into the genetic system. People are getting a lot of you will be surprised. Another thing which is coming now, down the line, people will travel to space. What is biggest danger in space? Electromagnetic frequencies. They are known to cause oncogenetic issues. They cause cancers. If you see the pictures of, space travelers, those who are people who have gone earlier in the space or living in space stations, now the protocols through genetic system has changed. Earlier, a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old person, when he used to come back, he used to look like a 60-year-old. They used to pass urine absolutely like milk. Whole bones are draining out because the space has got a lot of other issues which Earth doesn't have. So this science, this part of the system is a very, very, very important. Faster we do it, its application in India in a big way, less suffering will be there. I just wrote down, I wrote down one very interesting thing, which in fact we did those things. I won't tell you when and how and where. People, those who are trained for astronauts, their full genetic assessment is done before and after. Those reports are not, shown anywhere, but I have seen those reports. They're really painful. But they come out with that they didn't have any abnormality into the genetic system, but when they came back, you see majority of the reports were reds. You travel to Mount Everest, you will be surprised. A lot of people do their genetic assessment, then they travel to Mount Everest. Third level, I myself is a deep sea diver. We used to do this testing. Because all different environments are known to impact human body in a very, very different way, which we are not aware. And simply, now you will be surprised the way we are eating food nowadays. Since this work from home culture came, the food started, entering into the house in package, in polythene bags, in plastic bags, in aluminum, in what all. But now the effects are slowly coming in a big way. And the biggest example of EMF exposure to work from home, what is there? Small children are there. Now parents are busy in their office work. Small child, 4 years, 3 years, they put him near a laptop or they give him a mobile. They're getting exposed to EMF of a very high level, which is called in GBs. They're going into what? ADHD issues. They're going into autism. These two diseases were not known to the world. So
definitely, sir. Like I mentioned, we do 5G of DNA profiling. So the 5G that is entering each of our life is really very, very destructive. Even though we might think it is a big advancement in technology. But thank you so much, Arora, sir. We are going to request you at this point that we will have one detailed webinar with you very soon. And all my friends out here can look forward, wait for that webinar, where we will have a lot of questions for Arora sir, and he will be at the answering point for us. So sir, please be prepared, and thank you for your time. It was very nice of you to be here. Thank you so much, Ashish. Even though we haven't met, I know you're such a knowledgeable guy. And like I said, genetics has been my favorite subject. And Stan sir, if it probably wasn't for you to introduce this subject into India so that we common people, not just doctors, get involved, get to know, and start helping our family, friends, beginning with ourselves, of course, our communities and our societies, I don't think this would have been possible today, that we would be discussing all these issues on holistic health, global awareness, and yes, I still call it as a reinvented, revived, and renewed medicine-free life for future, which is possible. So thank you so much, friends. We come to the end of a lovely webinar, a very informative, insightful session. You have been a wonderful audience, and we will catch up once again very soon.